All right, you guys, so I got my boy Chris Lord Knows sitting right next to me. Chris basically runs a company called Lord Knows, which is a crazy clothing brand based out of the same area where I'm from, which is the Pacific Northwest, you know, Portland, Washington type of area. If you want to just give a kind of rundown of yourself.
What's good, everybody? Yeah, my name is Chris, 31 years old. I run Lord Knows. I'm a father of one, and I'm from Portland, Oregon / Vancouver, Washington. You know, we've been in business since 2014. We still moving and grooving.
So with that being said, bro, I'm kind of getting started just talking about your brand. I kind of want to talk about ups and downs throughout your journey. So
Sure.
I feel like this is something really important for beginners to understand, because what makes people stop is when they get so down, they're like, oh, I can't make it out.
Yeah.
So what was your biggest down, and what do you think got you through it from a mental perspective? Like, what mindset shift made you keep going?
Yeah, I've been pretty like stoic, I guess you can say, ever since I was like a kid. I just think like just the long-term vision of just following through. I'm a lot more closer to where I'm gonna finish than rather than just stopping and then like restarting over, you know what I mean? I just always had like the finish line at the end, and my whole thing is like what Nipsey Hussle say, it's just like fuck how long it takes. It's like as long as you just finish the race, just finish the race. So like that's always been like my thing when I first started. And you know, a lot of people, they don't have resources, and everybody's trying to be like so perfect when they just need to start. It's like, I mean, when I first started, I didn't know nothing like about Instagram, business, e-commerce, literally nothing. So like I started with 20 shirts, and we started out the trunk of the car, and it was like that was my resource. And then I started learning. 2 years later, got my first office, scaling up from there, got the second office, scaling up from there. Now we had our third one, so it's been nothing but a blessing.
That's crazy. Okay,
yeah.
Wait, so started out the trunk of the car. So explain to me at that time in your life, what were you thinking when you started this brand out of the trunk? You're like, how were the people around you making you feel? How were you feeling? Like,
bro, it was, see, and it's like a prideful thing. Like everybody has like pride, and it's like, but when you don't have nothing proven, you can't be prideful.
Yeah.
Like if Steve Jobs has these iPhones, and if they wasn't proven to the world, shit, I just come from like a world of hustlers. So it's like, we just starting out the trunk with it. Like, and I don't know, it's just like my dad, and like you go look at like even like the top hip hop historians of like Master P, a Dr. Dre, E40 is like Too Short. Like they all started from the trunk with their product. So I just kind of just like went off of that model, and I was just like, shit, like this is what we gonna do. And you know, I started with the 20 shirts. What I did, half of them I actually gave to my friends and my homeboys. And I was, and with this back when I was in the club a lot.
For free?
Yeah,
like,
yeah, just as like a billboard. And I was like, but every single time we go out, we all wearing the shirt. So when everybody drunk and lit, everybody was like, bro, what is this LXRD? Like, what's going on? And then they was like, why y'all all wearing the same shirts? Is this like a gang? Is this a clique? And like, we just like, it's us. And then like, they just like, he the one that run it.
Since you had your friends wearing it and stuff, do you think that like initial like blowing up kind of in the city type of thing happened with your brand? Or was it more like you just blew up elsewhere first?
Elsewhere first. Yeah, because like females was supporting me at the beginning. Like, cause I made like these little cute little like crew neck crop tops for like girls.
Yeah.
And like they was really out the trunk like supporting more than the dude, because man, we got testosterone, we got ego, we got pride. People just say, oh, why would I support his brand when I got my own homeboy with his brand? It was like one of those things. So like as far as like locally, like I wasn't really getting like love like that. Like I was, but I wasn't like the way that I wanted. And then it just so happened to be like, as I just was in that underground scene and things just started bubbling, like then that's when people really started paying attention. Like when I was like 24 months in, 30 months in, that's when people, even on the local scene, they was like, oh shit, like who's this kid in our backyard, you know? But even to this day, like I've always been like low key. I don't really like really push it more so to Portland. And that's another thing too. Don't think with like a local mindset if you're building a brand. Think globally, because like the people that think local, that's exactly where they stay at. And it's like, it's a cap to that. There's only so many people in the population that stay where you live at. So I always just thought bigger, and I was just like I'm bigger than Portland.
With that being said, what's like the biggest message I guess you're trying to put out there as far as like to the world with your brand?
Because like when you look at our brand, it's like I'm big on like the IG or any of our platforms, but specifically like IG, that should be like the catalog of like what your brand entails. So like when you go to my page, it's very clear as day like what we're about. It's not scattered. It's like one lane, and that's really more so just like the center and the saint, and that's what all of us have on our shoulders every single day. And I kind of like like propel that, whether if it's on a t-shirt from the person that's modeling the clothes to a video concept, etc. Because at the end of the day, like what my brand stands for, it means Lord knows your purpose in life. And like I said, it's like we all carry like a sinner and a saint, and I kind of like reflect that through religion, through politics, through the government and things like that. And when you go to my page, like it's clear as day of what we're about. And you don't want like a gray scale customer, like you don't want an in-between person. I look at things very black and white. It's like when somebody comes to your IG and like sees your brand, either they 100% fuck with it or they don't. Even if they 50%, I don't want those people. It's like, so when somebody follows, it's like I know for a fact like they 100% fuck with what I got going on.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That's very valuable right there.
Yeah.
With your IG account, as far as that goes, keeping it all congruent, keeping it all one brand that makes sense. I know when I started out in brand building, like my first brand just like made no sense.
Yeah.
Like, and I had to like develop that kind of like understanding of like what looks good.
Yeah.
Do you think that was kind of something that right off the bat you were having shit look good, or do you think that's something that you learned over time? And if so, what would you recommend somebody who's trying to learn how to be aesthetic, kind of what would you recommend them do?
Like when I first started, like I wasn't trying to be perfect, but it's like it's so much up here when you a creator and when you have like a vision for something. Even if you just trying to make like one t-shirt, you want it to go like that exact way. And when I look back at it now, it was obviously like not the best work that I did, but it's like you're going to have to evolve over time. So it's like my thing is like aesthetically, it's like just use like the resources that you have. It's like when I couldn't go get like a certain rapper, like I'm going to get one of my homeboys that is Lord knows, when unconsciously like that's who he is. When it comes to the designers, even for like my brand, it's like they are Lord knows without saying that they're Lord knows.
Yeah.
So it wasn't, and even that, it's like I'm not a big believer in like finding and seeking, because you will never get the answer. But it's just all like when I wasn't trying to find and seek you, you fell right into my lap. So it's the same even when it's like building a brand. It's just all like my whole thing is like just purge it out, just keep putting it out, and just keep testing and just look at yourself. Just measure everything that you putting out like over time is like the best way that I can put it. Is it all correlating and like making sense? And this is one cheat code that, shout out to Jordan Bentley. He gave me this cheat code back in the day. He was like, bro, right on the whiteboard. I had this big whiteboard in my office, and for those who don't know, Jordan Hypeland, like he runs Hypeland, and that's like one of the biggest like anime streetwear brands out right now. But he was at my office like a few years back, and he was all like, on the whiteboard, write your name, Lord knows, and like what's a secondary thing to that represents. So for example, like Nike, we have Nike, they represent athletics. So then for me, it was just like Lord knows, and then I'm gonna put God, right? And then all these ideas that form around that, so prayer, sinner, saint, 777, 666, worship, Holly, angels, demons, Satan, all these different things just started purging out, and then that's where you live at, and now that's your lane.
Damn.
So that, like, that's your lane. Like, and then so then you got so many references, so many ideas to go off of, to now you're in your own lane. And it's kind of like Nipsey Hussle, like TMC, the marathon continues. Even if it's inspiration, motivation, perseverance, hard work, sacrifice. But it's like when you look at him as a person, when you look at the brand, the Marathon Clothing, like that's what that all entails. Yeah. So that's crazy. Yeah, that's some good game that like he gave me. Shout out to Jordan Bentley, man. Like that's nuts. I feel like that's like, I honestly have not heard it broken down that well like that in my life. Like that was so clear, because I feel like a lot of people always ask, okay, they have a brand name or whatever, but they don't have a brand vision. Right. And like without a brand vision, like you're practically nothing. You're just a logo. Right. And finding the vision that way, where you write down your name and then write down what that represents. Right. That is an easy way. Yeah, and then fill up the whole entire. And this board is like 6 feet high. Like big ass ones. Yeah, big ass ones. Like I feel it's literally like 500 different things. It was just like Southern baptisms and devils, and it was just all like halos, and it was just like afterlife and all these different things. And it's like that's where you live at. Yeah. And you don't live outside of that. Even if that shit ain't popping, that's where you live at. Yeah. You know? So that's crazy. Yeah, that's some good ism. That's some good ism. Yeah, that's fire. That's fire. That's sick. Okay, sick. So we obviously met today, but we had a little conversation
conversation before we did this as well, and I never heard you one time say, you know, that you were, you know, necessarily like, I always hear you talking about you're putting this out, you're doing this, you're constantly putting new things out, new brands, new ideas, new things. You seem like somebody who wants to hop on opportunities and you do things right away. You're somebody who gets shit done right away. I initially like had the fear of like, oh, I'm gonna put this out and everybody's gonna make fun of it or everybody's gonna hate it. What do you think, and I feel like a lot of people struggle with that as well, what do you think made you such a go-getter? I'm gonna post it, I'm gonna get it out there. Was it always that way? Did you at first kind of wonder, like, you feel that same anxiety at first and then you just did it and you learned, hey, there's no risk in putting something out there even if people don't like it. It's better I did it, you know?
For sure. Yeah, what just motivated me was just like, because my situation was crazy. Like, I thought when I first started this, like, off my first shirt, I was gonna make like $1 million.
Hell yeah,
I was like, everything is straight. Like, y'all have nothing to worry about. Mom, dad, like, y'all good. And then I didn't get not one order for like 4 or 5 months. At 23, 24 years old, that will fuck with you. So I'm like, damn, like,
putting in hella hours too.
Hella hours, like getting prepared for this drop. Like we did like a whole thing at Church Bar. Because like, you know how it's like church and Lord knows. We made like our own drinks. It was like Hennessy and cranberry juice and we called them like hell juice and all this other stuff. Crazy stuff, like just to get prepared for one t-shirt. And the shirt didn't do nothing when I put it online. And this is the same shirt that I was like doing crop tops for girls. But I just made it like as a unisex shirt. And then when I got my first order, and I was like, what the hell? Like I saw it like come through on Big Cartel, and it was a kid from Jersey, from New Jersey, and like I'm out and I'm doing this out of my dad's house, like the operation, and he's just like, I love what you're doing, keep going. Literally, the first order, like there's nothing else on the thing, and I just stared at that for a minute, and I was just all like, I'm not stopping. I literally was like, I'm not stopping until I see hundreds and thousands, like until I gotta like click to find a customer, and it wasn't even more so the money thing, it was just more so like what I got going is proven, because if one person mess with it, then I know that there's tens of millions of people that can mess with it. Yeah, and even with my sneaker, it's just like the sneaker did cool, and it's just all like, but even just off of like that feedback, it's just all like, it didn't go as I wanted it to go, but it still went enough to where it proved to me that like, if I double down on it, we can really like take it to them levels. You know what I mean? And my whole thing is like, obviously like we all entrepreneurs, but like I told you outside, it's all about just like making something that's never existed, making a product or a service that if it wasn't for you, that would not be here. And I feel like that's very important for like the people to see, the ones that's coming after us and the ones that's here. Because we only got 4,000 weeks. You divide 4,000 weeks from 52 weeks, that's only 80 years, and most motherfuckers ain't even making it to that.
4,000 weeks. I've never broken down like that. That's crazy.
4,000. 4,000.
That's crazy.
That's if we even make it to that. So it's like every day, it's like I kind of just like treat it like how Robert Greene says, it's like you just walking on deaf ground. And it's just all like, and whether you made a brand, took it from 0 to 100K or 0 to 100 million, it's just all like at the end of the day, it's like, don't really look at other people's numbers and put yourself in a gap over that. Because a lot of people will do that too. They'll be like, oh, well, Jeremy's doing 100 million while I'm over here doing 100K. But it's just all like, you will put yourself in a gap over that when you really need to look at the gain and like look at what you have done and look at like the person you had to become. Because I feel like everybody should try to be millionaires. Everybody should be building generational wealth. And it's not even a selfish thing, because it's all about becoming. Because the person that I'm looking to and talking to through that camera, if you're not there wherever you want to be at, the harsh reality is that you're just not good enough. So then when you sit back and when you think of your future self, it's just all like, I got to become that person now, do the work, and then I'll have whatever I want effortlessly in the long run, rather than doing the opposite, what everybody doing. Everybody is doing whatever, morally or unmorally, to get whatever they want. And then they wonder why it keeps getting snatched from them, because like it's a thing called identity. If you making, if a girl that dances or a dude that's selling drugs, he make 200,000 and he got the little bins and everything like that. But if it gets snatched from him quickly and then he's back down in the trenches, it's because you have a $40,000 paradigm, even though that you're making a 200K income. But why don't we get our paradigm to 200 racks relax? Why don't we just sit there, focus on our future self? Because everybody's going to become a different person.
Yeah.
The Jeremy at 31 is going to be a completely different person I'm looking to and talking to right now. But the greatest thing about it is you can make that choice to become who you want to be, or you can just live aimlessly and then let society choose it for you.
Because of social media, they see like, oh my God, this person's making $100K a month. I'm still not making anything. You know, why they feel like they're almost deserving of it because somebody else is, and they're just comparing themselves to others. They, by doing that, never get off the ground.
And like I said, even if you get one order, look how far you came just from going from no orders at all
to one order.
Yeah. And then it's just like, now we got to, and then we got to measure everything, because anything that we not measuring is not growing. So it's just like, okay, let's go from 1 to 100.
I like that.
And then it's like, what happened in between that 1 to 100? Now let's go 100 to 1,000.
Yeah.
100 to 5,000. 5,000 to 10,000. And it's like, keep measuring the growth, even when it comes to like followings and all that stuff, even with yourself. It's like, if Jeremy wants to lose 10 pounds, he's not just going to run to the gym and just be all like, well, I hope I lost it. He's going to get on the weight scale and be like, how much did I lose?
Yeah.
He's measuring it. So like, just keep measuring everything that you care about.
That's great. It won't grow if you don't measure it. That's a key takeaway. I guess I always like to ask people this because it always really interests me with this, you know, the mindset that you've gotten over the years of being in here. When you think back to when you were a kid, is there key things that maybe happened in your life, or things that people you met, experiences you had that developed your mindset in a very, very, you know, big way?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, I've always been counted out ever since I was a kid, like from sports. Everybody just like wrote me off like in high school. And my high school coach that cut me from the basketball team, and he was like, you would never play college or anything. To this day, it's like when I get tired, that's the person that like I think about, bro. Like to this day, entrepreneurship, everything. I'll be like, if I threw in the towel, he's getting the last laugh. Because when I was coming up in high school, I wasn't like a straight A student. Like I was wild. You know, we was wilding out.
Yeah.
So like, I'm always getting suspended and all this. And a lot of people just wrote me off like he ain't gonna be shit in life.
Yeah.
But it's like specifically him. Like he's the one that kind of had me like on my Kobe mindset as like, don't rest in the middle, only in the end.
Yeah.
And it's just all like, when it comes to sports, when it comes to anything, it's like I never rest. And it's like, I'm not a big believer in like outworking people or outworking yourself. I'm all about out-sacrificing.
Sacrifice versus work ethic. That's crazy. That is.
Because look at the people in India. They work hard and they pick grapes and plums, but it's like, are they rich?
Yeah.
It's just like, no, but it's just like, but everybody wants like instant gratification.
Yeah.
And it's just all like, where's the people that can like out-sacrifice more than anybody?
Yeah.
And those are the ones that like are further along in the game, you know?
The sacrifice is what the real hard part is.
Yeah.
It's like the hard work's hard, obviously, but anybody can do that.
Yeah. And even that, it's like, I'm not trying to go on a tantrum, but like even hard work is like an illusion.
Yeah.
Because like practice and all these extra layers of baggage is jargon, because it's like everybody's practicing to maintain, but rarely anybody's training to become. And hard work is just all like, if I threw Jeremy,
I like that.
If I threw my man's right here with his dog in the middle of the river behind us, would it be hard work to get to the shore? It's not gonna be hard.
No, not gonna be hard. Yeah, not gonna be hard. I mean, you're just
the
going.
strokes. Phone doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're just
time
going.
doesn't matter. All you care about is arriving.
Yeah.
So like, rather than like the whole determined commitment, it's like, even with that, it's like people tell me all the time, well, I'm committed. It's just all like, that's an illusion. It's just all like, if Jeremy was working for me, and if I told him, you got to be at work in the next 10 minutes, or I'm taking away your house and your car, are you gonna need to be committed to show up? You're just gonna show up.
Yeah, you're gonna show up.
Yeah, so it's like all these extra words, and it's like, because your mind will play tricks on you. And like these young kids that's getting into entrepreneurship, everybody's trying to unlearn and relearn. Yeah. And they learning, I want to say, the wrong things. It's all good, like the self-help and motivation and stuff, but it's like, don't add these extra layers. It's like, just arrive. Like, I don't even care about the journey, because it's just all like, if Jeremy told me right now, well, I want to be a billionaire, that's his arrival, I don't care care about the journey. But everybody talks about the journey, and rarely anybody arrives anywhere. The people that's talking about it.
Yeah.
My question would be, have you arrived? And if the answer is no, let's examine why. Because those are the problems, and we don't need to go find solutions because the problem is in the solution.
Yeah. Huh.
You know what I mean?
I love that. I hope you guys took notes on that, because that is so true. I mean, so many people.
Or the solutions in the problem.
Yeah.
The solutions in the problem.
No, yeah. So many people do get caught up in the journey or the practice or you just got to be fucking in the game.
In the game.
You just got to be, focusing on where you're going, know, where the actual arrival is, getting to that point. And I feel like that helps with motivation too, because when you're less focused on, I had a, bad day today. You don't focus on the day by day, I feel like, when you're just thinking about arriving there.
Right.
Know what I mean?
Are you thinking about the day by day in the middle of the river? No. If I threw you out to the middle of the river and rode off with my boat, all you caring about is getting there. Scaling there and getting to whatever the rival is different for everybody. And me and you was like racing right now across the river. You might go under the water some. I might stay above the water. Everybody's trying to compare, or everybody's trying to replicate that same model. It's just like the way Jeremy got in his beautiful apartment is completely different on the way that I got to my apartment. But every tree doesn't grow the same. And it's like, you can't, obviously Jeremy's over here to teach you guys like the obvious mechanical how-to when it comes to brand building, when it comes to Facebook ads and things like that. But outside of that, the rest is an exploration. It's no different than a kid writing the ABCs. If I can clearly see A, B, and C, I should not interfere. But as soon as I be like, you need to write the A like this and the B like that, now that's getting a human to think. Now that's bringing internal resistance. And that's the last thing a human being needs.